Before we start this section, I want to talk a little bit about the configuration menu. Normally the configuration, once you've set it, it'll stay the same and it doesn't change. So it's not something you need to worry about every time you start Sartopo, but it's good to get some things set up and to understand how they will affect your search. Now, we talked about the configuration a little bit when we went over the menu in the menu screen, but I want to go into a little bit more detail here of the settings that we actually use. Showing labels set to all. This means anything we put on the screen we will see. Now, sometimes labels can take up a lot of space and overlay other items. So if that does happen, you can turn them off, but generally we leave them on. The white background helps too, because depending upon the map, it keeps the actual label that you've put up, the actual word you've put up, from blending into the background and make it invisible essentially. Visibility by folder. This means that when we start creating folders, such as markers or lines and polygons, that you can turn them all off by just turning off the folder. Your other choice is to have visibility by item. Visibility by item means that within each folder you can turn off individual items. You can also turn them all off by turning off the folder by clicking on it, but this allows you to turn off individual items. We will use this occasionally, but it's a lot more useful to actually do it by folder. Show the UTM, US National Grid. No, and here's the reason why. You can see that this becomes a very busy screen when we turn that on. So no, we don't use that. Update the URL on MapMove. What this does is puts the URL up here of the location of the center of the screen. Most of the time this isn't really useful, because what we really generally tend to follow is over here where we see the cursor movement giving us what we're looking for, the actual coordinates that we're looking for. So we tend not to have them on the center, the top center of the URL. Our coordinates, we use WGS84. However, if you had to, there's NAD27 if you work with another facility. Units, I leave these mixed. I've never really seen a big difference. But for example, if you measure something, mixed will show you both feet and meters. Other times you can say, no, I just want to see feet, or I only want to see acres instead of metric, square kilometers or nautical. So mixed is just a good answer all the way around. The coordinate system, we actually want to use UTM. We should probably move to US National Grid at some time, but UTM's works fine. And then a secondary one, degrees, minutes, decimal minutes, works pretty well because that's what we understand we use with aviation. Okay? And then finally, stop drawing at 100 vertices or 1,000 vertices. This is used because you can get so many points where each little object's on the map that it clogs the memory and makes everything slow. So stopping at 1,000 is a good number. I think 10,000 would be way too far. I've never seen the situation when we've had to worry about even going above 1,000. And then the snap to. Snap to OpenStreetMap is a good start. It's the one you'll use the most. Later on, you can look at using hydrology or even some lines and polygons when drawing, for example, area searches. However, OpenStreetMap is usually the best one that we use and works really well. Okay, So those are the settings for config. Generally, we leave them just like this, and the system remembers them each time you bring a screen up. Okay, now we'll go ahead and actually start the search.